And welcome back to the Hot Lap. We're talking Rally Portugal, finally. Yes, I know it's probably Wednesday by the time you're listening to this. I'm recording it pretty much at midnight, but what a rally we had in Portugal. Really, really unpredictable. At one point, they were posting, I think, 5 different leaders, and it was won by new record holder Sebastian Ogier, becoming the first driver to achieve 6 Vodafone Rally de Portugal, or just Rally Portugal victories on the Sunday, powering to glory, only 7.9 seconds clear of his Hyundai Motorsport rival, Ot Tanak. Yes, Tanak, welcome to the party. But the Frenchman, Mr. Ogier, let's see if we can get his wonderfully smiling picture up here, can we? Because he was arguably the man of the rally. I mean, absolutely amazing. So he's now the most successful driver in the 56-year history of that Portugal event, and which was a founding round of the FIA World Rally Championship back in 1973. So Ogier, he previously shared the record with Finnish legend Markku Allen. I'm sure I probably got that pronunciation wrong, so I'm so sorry for fans of him, but yeah. He did hold that, but not anymore. Now, 5 different drivers, though, led this grueling gravel fixture. It utilised roads near the northern Portuguese cities of Porto and Matosinhos. I probably got that wrong, but it drew attendance from tens of thousands of passionate fans. If you're watching it on Rally or Rally TV, or even using Dirtfish or some of the highlight channels, or even watching Channel 4, you'd notice that. I mean, that's what the rally is on here, the OK. But Ogier, he seized the top spot and started to win the rally, let's say, after an absolutely insane Saturday, during which his Toyota teammate Kalle Rovanperä rolled out of the lead, and Katsuta, who was looking not too bad as well, retired his similar car with what was a shattered rear suspension. So, I mean, Sebastian Ogier, he had pretty much absolutely showed his class. Without question, he was the best driver there, hence he won. He using all those experiences, and he also makes it interesting, 2 wins in a row. I mean, this guy, what would have happened if he came back full time? You have to wonder. Evans, for example, who had an absolutely shocking rally, we'll get into that. Nouvelle, they're going to be really panicked. I mean, I certainly would be. Absolutely. So he won, as we know, he won in Croatia, and then to come and win the gravel Portugal, off the tarmac of Croatia, the gravel in Portugal is quite some feat for what is, as we know, a part-time driver. But it wasn't perfect. He did struggle on that Friday, but by the end of Saturday, he pretty much had it sorted. So from Sebastian Ogier to, Sebastian Ogier is going to now leave us, because we're going to speak about this man here, Elfyn Evans. I mean, this was his worst rally of the year so far, without a shadow of doubt. And it was a really difficult one. He had an absolute nightmare of a weekend. And everyone suggested he was always going to struggle because of road position, being second on the road. He was behind Nouvelle, who came away, to be fair, with 3rd place and a bucket load of points in the championship, which we'll probably have a look in a bit. I mean, yeah, absolutely dominating that championship. Now, as in, if I was Evans, I would start to be worried. He was my favourite going into the season. I still think he can do something about it, but Thierry Nouvelle is just a lot more consistent. And it wasn't just the road position, though, that hampered Evans. It was also his car. He wasn't happy with it. It didn't seem anything wrong, but even he's come out and said, we need to really think about this weekend. So the window of operation for Evans wasn't really, really narrow. All 4 Toyota drivers, they seem to kind of struggle on the Friday. But what will worry Elfyn from Dirtfish is saying is that Ogier, Rovanperä and Katsuta came out on Saturday morning and pretty much had resolved those issues over what happened on Friday. So they got themselves ready for the stage. And Dirtfish is saying that the worrying thing for Elfyn is the problem of confidence with the car is unlikely to get any better in Sardinia, and it's going to be just as difficult to find that sweet spot. He did get to the finish, though, despite a rock damaging his cooling system on that penultimate stage. So he did okay, but yeah, absolutely the worst rally of the year for Elfyn Evans. Full stop. Let's talk about this guy here then. One of Evans' teammates. Yes, Mr. Katsuta. So, I think he did better than Evans, but and here's the thing: he had more pace than Evans, but Evans finished the rally. He didn't. He crashed out of the rally. So even though he looked faster than Evans, can you really put him above Evans in the rally? Probably. In terms of pace, yes, because he did do better than Evans on the pace. But in terms of actually getting the job done, no. I mean, he showed what pace he had on Friday, getting stuck in, and he even led the rally, briefly, albeit briefly. Unfortunately, he also showed that classic Taka, when the pressure is on, the expectation hits a certain level, it all seems to go wrong. I kind of have a nod back to Sweden. And when you start all these, when you look at all these mistakes, and he was making a few mistakes in the rally, when, looking at replays of his stages, you kind of expected it. It wasn't unexpected for him to have a big one. And this is something that Taka really now, I think this season, needs to start to iron out. I think he can, even now speaking of Chris, I think he can win a rally this year. He has the pace. It's just keeping that pace consistently over the whole rally. He's got a lot to look forward to. He just needs, I think, kind of a bit like Evans at the moment, a bit more confidence. And I do believe when he wins that first rally, more will absolutely come. So yeah, that's Evans. That's not Evans' story. That's Katsuta's story. But let's talk about another Toyota driver. Not quite as equally, I think, as disappointing as Katsuta is this man here, Kalle Rovanperä. On the Friday, he kind of wasn't there, and we kind of I expected a lot more from him, especially with the road position, but he seemed to struggle with the setup of the car, as all the Toyota drivers did. However, he was looking good. He was looking like he could potentially, be one of the favourites to win it. And then he made that big mistake, kind of like Katsuta, and yeah, that was it. Did he do better than Katsuta? Yes, because I think he had more pace than Taka. But to finish first you have to finish, and that's something that Kalle absolutely did not do. Massive disappointment there. I think, yeah, not particularly good at all for Mr. Rovanperä. So, who is next? Well, let's have a look at the Hyundai drivers, shall we? I'm just need to find him. And this guy right here, we said he probably needed to win it. Okay, he didn't quite win it, but he definitely needed a good result. And Tanak did get a good result. A big improvement from this weekend, not just obviously in his performance, but in his demeanour. He didn't seem too complainy as he has done. He was even happier. You can tell he was even happier with the interviews. Though he still has, there are still issues with that Hyundai. For Tanak, it appeared to be around the setup. However, I think he clearly had his absolute best weekend of the year so far, without a shadow of a doubt. What is it? Let me see. If we look at the results, he finished just 7.9 seconds behind Ogier. So that's not too bad from a man that really needed a strong result. And that moves him up to third in that World Championship. So he is on 79 points. And Evans is on 86. Imagine that. Evans had such a shocker that now Tanak, the man we said is under the most pressure going into the rally, is within shouting distance of a second place in that championship. So absolutely a massive thumbs up to Tanak. Brilliant. Yeah. What can you say? So we go from one Hyundai driver to the next Hyundai driver, and it's going to be this guy here. Yes, the championship leader who has extended his championship, Thierry Neuville. So he did a solid job, didn't he? He finished third, albeit 1 minute 9.8 seconds. But it looked like he wasn't going to finish third. But then, when you've got people like Taka and Taka and Kalle essentially putting themselves out of the rally. This guy didn't. He showed obviously a real tenacity on some of the stages. He was first on the road on Friday, and the conditions, yes, they did. I think they were quite damp at first, so they played into his hands with that surface. But traction was always going to be still difficult, being first on the road. He did make, I think, the absolute most on Friday that he could have done, but a little bit of ground was lost in the in that Friday afternoon. But he did drive with he essentially had a really strong rally. He goes away from Portugal, extending that lead in the championship as well. And that's probably the most important thing to Neuville. He's on 110 points. And to be fair, going into Portugal, Evans was within shouting distance. Had he beat Neuville and had a good Sunday, he may well have been in the lead of the championship. So the pressure was on Terry. He took it really well. And he's now on 110 points, where Evans is on 86. So he does have what I think is a healthy lead. I'm not saying it's his to lose in terms of a championship yet, but it is a sizable gap that is really going to worry, I think, some of the other drivers. Absolutely it will. Let's quickly talk about Danny Sordo. I have not managed to get his picture up there, but what a rally he had. I mean, he won stages at one point. If you if you were looking from the sidelines, you thought, oh my gosh, could this guy actually win? He did drop a chunk of time on Saturday's penultimate stage, which kind of ensured that Neuville was really going to beat him. And I think he had a better road position, but I think he went into team player mode. So a massive thumbs up to him, though. I think he did a lot better than many people would have given him credit for. So let's look at the Ford boys. Once again, I think so far I don't want to say underrated, because he's getting his plaudits, but I don't think no one expected Adrian Fourmeau to be this good this year. And once again, he had a really encouraging weekend. He is looking like the real deal. He has improved bounds and bounds, I think. He's come on leaps and bounds this year, which is something that I was criticising Takakatsuta for, because we haven't seen that jump in him that we kind of expected this year, like we have with Fourmeau. Driving, let's be honest, not the strongest car, and he's clearly loving his rallying, and I think he's got the absolute most out of the car out of the M Sport car this year. This year, and in particular this rally, he finished fourth, didn't he? Not a million miles away from the podium, of 30 odd seconds, but 1 minute 47.8. But I think that, he beat Sordo, he beat Evans, which you wouldn't really expect coming into it. This guy, he's just putting in the results, isn't he? Absolutely non-stop. So massive thumbs up. This guy's a robot. But this Monster though, Monster, that's a drink, isn't it? Monster, not as good. But he's a young driver. Is it unfair to be critical of him? Well, Fourmeau's really showing him up. But you can't deny, he's definitely given it a go. And I think he's here for the long game. And what will be really interesting for Monster is when we have Rally Portugal next year, for example, and all the other rallies next year, how much he improves. Like, for example, Fourmeau has obviously improved this time. Yeah, fingers crossed. So that is pretty much that's pretty much our winners and losers. I mean, our biggest losers are really Evans and Calais Rovanpera and Takakatsuta. I think all the rest that managed to finish the rally are absolute winners. The biggest winners coming out of it really are Ogier, I think, Tanak and Neuville, which was your podium. But special mention, obviously, to Adrian Fourmeau. So pretty much anyone that finished that rally is going to get a massive thumbs up from us. Anyway, I digress. This has been the Heart Lap. I'm now questioning myself as to what it is. And we will speak to you soon. Thank you so much. Like and subscribe if you can. That would be amazing. And we'll have more rally news this week. All the news coming out of the Rally to Portugal. See you soon.